hit.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest set for one fall is for the WWE Championship.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm Big Al. That guy right there is the voice of Pennsylvania wrestling, Professor Keith. And this...
I don't know that I go that far.
I would go that far. From what I heard, I would go that far. And joining us is referee extraordinaire, Pennsylvania, slowly becoming a Pennsylvania wrestling referee legend in DYLAN QUINN. What's up, my man?
Nothing much, man. Man, call me a legend. I don't know.
You're getting there. No, you're getting it. Okay, so, all right. For those of you out there watching us and who don't know Dylan, and you're like, what this guy talking about? Dylan, how long you been in this business?
Ooh, well, I started in the business at the age of 13, just helping set up a ring, setting up, man, doing security. Breaking child labor laws, I'm pretty sure, but, we don't talk about that.
I think the statute of limitations is expired, so it's fine.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, buddy.
Started at the age of
and if not, none of you stooge this off.
Hey, yeah, we got little Gavin out here running around.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's all right.
Exactly. All right, Gavin's already a legend. He's not even like a teenager yet.
But no, I started at the age of 13, just helping set up. That's something I always knew I wanted to do. Took a few years away from wrestling because I was going down the college route. I thought, but wrestling dragged me back in. Started at the age of 17.
Are you getting a dropout on Dylan? I am.
Yeah. I heard every other word there for a minute there, buddy. I don't know what happened because we had a great connection and then all of a sudden we didn't.
Oh,
do
no.
You have a microphone or something you're using?
No, just my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the phone usually works good.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously you haven't moved. That's why it's so odd that all of a sudden there is just that moment of choppiness there.
Yeah.
So 17 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you started, I mean, you got your start, if I remember, because you and I have had many a conversation about, was it with the Wild Samoans or was it? Yeah.
It was with the Wild Samoans under Samu Anawahi and RJR, former WXW wrestler. Man, before I got my start, I knew I wanted to be there always. Everybody that knows me knows I take pride in this family. I called Alpha Junior, who I worked for, Battle Wrestling, my uncle. That's where I got my start.
All right, so
yeah, the Anawahi is so important in Pennsylvania in professional wrestling in general, but I mean definitely in Pennsylvania. It's a who's who of major and I hate to say the word minor. I mean, let's say undiscovered. Undiscovered is probably a better word for it. Talent that has come through WXW and any successor promotions and whatnot. I know Alpha Jr. is keeping the flame going. Sam is doing everything he can with that. Just so important. The Anawahi family is so important to professional wrestling and certainly so important to professional wrestling in our neck of the woods.
So I always say, without the Yeah.
Yeah, so something's going on with his audio, Keith, and this guy here, Michael, who's watching. And Michael, I saw your comment, buddy. Yeah, we can't hear him either.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
like
was going to suggest to
now.
Dylan that he goes out and comes back in, because that what helped. That helped. What happened? We were having technical difficulties before the show on my end, and that helped. So Dylan, if you wouldn't mind going out and coming back in, and we'll talk to Dylan. Thank you, Michael, for pointing that out. In the meantime, Professor, while he's doing that, our old friend David, who we saw last night at SWO, and by the way,
Great to
for
see
those
David.
of you who wrestle or were at that show last night, what a show.
Yeah, great
What
show.
a show. That was one of the best SWO shows that the Professor and I were privileged to be part of. It was amazing. Great effort.
And I can tell you, having talked to the locker room after, everybody excited by that show, really appreciative of all of you fans out there that came to the show. I'm certainly appreciative. During introductions, you guys made me feel really special with that pop and that shout out for me, and I thank you, and I hope that I'm always going to be worthy of that. Because
you're worthy of that.
I always take it as it's one show at a time, and you got to keep it going. You never take it for granted, and you never rest on a performance. You know, every show you gotta prove yourself again.
Okay, I think we got Dylan back. Dylan, you hear us now?
You guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, so David Motorman's here, and he's like, Sunday night, time to gather around the turnbuckle once again, and tonight we have a special treat. Time to learn about another ring general of the business, referee Dylan Quinn. And I use that term ring general when describing this show because we have had some referees on. You know, Keith knows we had that guy Parker from down south a while back, and of course we had the living legend Zach Carlucci on here a while back. You know, and Dylan, you know, hey, you've crossed paths with Zach Carlucci, I'm sure.
Actually, you know what? Believe it or not, I've never been on a show with him.
Oh, really?
Never been on a show with him. He's one of the only ones I have yet to work with.
You have to. Zach is.
You've heard of him, though. I mean, you know who he is.
Yeah. I remember watching him as a kid too.
Oh, I love Zach.
Great show last night, even though you announced the unlimited title match early. Yeah, I've been getting razzed about that. Thank you, David, for bringing that up, by the way.
Hey,
one mistake in 18 months, Dylan. All right. So the match order, Dylan. Let me explain to Dylan. Let me explain to Dylan what happened. So, Dylan, last night I was the ring announcer for SWO. Get a clue. The professor was calling the matches. And we get to match number 3, and I have my cards there ready, right? You know, Carolina Jim was a good mentor of mine, and some other ring announcers. I had my cards in order, and everything was in order. I had already flipped the card for the next match. So the 4th match then was on top of my pile. So I get in the ring, and I say that the following contest scheduled for one fall is for the SWO Unlimited Championship, which was match number 4. And the sound guy, I could see over the crowd, the sound guy in the corner is like doing that. And I'm like,
thank Christ Al announces the way he announces, so I didn't follow his lead and make it all the worse.
Yeah.
So then Vicious Fan Valley's music hit, and as soon as it hit, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Because then I knew I fucked up. So then he comes up and he made a thing out of it. Like he made a thing like, come on, Al, you ain't forgetting this guy. Come on, Al. Right. And then I announced it correctly, but it was an embarrassing thing. But we got through it, and nobody from SWO gave me crap about it. I mean, nobody behind the scenes gave me crap about it. So
okay, so talking about ring announcer mess ups. I was at
It's July, David. You want me to wear a suit in July?
I was at
my normal gear.
That's you.
I was at New Air Pro last night. We had George Carlitas ring announcing, and it was a triple threat between Shelby Waters, Miguel Del Barrio's daughter Sage, and Journey Burke.
Journey Burke.
I know 2 of those people.
Yeah. So didn't he announce Shelby as Journey?
Oh fuck yeah, he did. I heard about that.
See, now I will do that, Shelby Waters.
Only because I love you, George. You know you're the man, but I had to bury you.
I don't do that. I don't do that, Shelby Waters.
Listen, I told the guys last night, because a few of us, I won't say who, kayfabe, go out to the Valley Tavern after the show. We go out to after the show, and I said to everybody, so I think I might have fucked up on commentary in the main event, because we've got Shawn Rollins just turned babyface, and he had this incredible fucking dive, which is great.
Unbelievable.
I fucked up before the dive, thank Christ. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to put over, because he's fighting his tag team partner, who's a rich guy and an asshole, Cody Rhodes. And I'm like, he belittled Shawn Rollins. He treated Shawn Rollins like a doormat, let him get beat up, this, that, and the other thing.
Yep.
And he didn't even pay him for it. And I'm like, fuck, I think I just accidentally called him a prostitute. It didn't get paid. Fuck.
All right. Enough about me and Keith. Let's talk about Dylan.
Yeah.
All right. So, Dylan, let's go back, because you were choppy there. Now you're perfect. So, Wild Samoans, age 17. What was it like? What were those guys like? Who were some of the wrestlers that were training at that same time that you met and were training with?
Well, a lot of them I can't really mention. But coming up with me, Riley Crow, like I said, RJR, Tommy Vex would come in from time to time. Outlaw John West. We had a group of people, man. My boy Cord Zellers, just dealt with a lot of knee injuries, but he still pops in from time to time, and we were grinding, man. We had a little former car lot building, and when it was hot in the summer like it is today, we were dying. And when it was cold in the wintertime, we were dying. We put in that work, though. We put in the grind, man. I always say I appreciate the times that I had at the Wild Samoans, coming up from where I did. I see a lot of the training centers nowadays, man, and I'm just like, you kids have it lucky. Like, where I came from, even the kids, at the dungeon currently, the dungeon kids, they don't have it easy. Like, there's some training centers out there that it is not fun, but it makes it worthwhile. Being able to say I came from the Wild Samoans and starting where I started, that I take pride. And one of the last students of the Valley class, I take that because the Wild Samoans is reopening in Florida. That. So being the last class of the Lehigh Valley crew, man, I take pride in that.
Yeah.
Excellent, man. And you spread out, though. You didn't just learn there. Like, you started spreading your wings and going out and working for other feds and learning from other feds too, and probably learning from other referees, right?
I did. So after WXW and getting the approval from Samu, I started going to Outbreak Professional Wrestling, now known as AXW.
Right.
Ryan Vox and stuff like that over there. And then after there, just kind of went wherever I got booked. Now, I'm booked a lot. Master Wrestling, Battlefield, New Era now is on my list.
New Era.
Other places, and I'm just trying to expand the horizons a little bit more, maybe eventually get to another state. That's one of my goals right now. Get to another state, another company, outside of Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So, you got a little taste of Dog Nation last night. What'd you think of those guys?
Oh, man, I've known Dog Nation pretty much since I started. Going to Triple WA and them being there, man, they're good time, and they're definitely underrated for how good they are.
They could make it. I think they could make it to TV.
Oh, absolutely. I've been telling everybody I know that's a wrestling fan that doesn't really follow the independent scene. I said, I want you to remember the name of Dog Nation, because they're going to be on your TV one day. You're going to be watching them, and you're going to be going, holy shit. Because as a commentator, it has been so much fun to call their matches, because whether they're heels or their faces, they're equally as good at either thing. And it is so fucking easy to put them and their shit over. They are so fucking good and so committed.
And they just came back from, I want to say Korea.
Yep. Korea, and they're going to Chile in a couple weeks, I believe, soon too.
Yeah.
Yep, they've been to Canada. They've been there. They're planning on going to Australia. I mean, they're spreading their wings, man. They're making it happen. I mean, they're all in on this career, and kudos to them, and we wish them well. They've, we're privileged to have called their matches. I'm privileged to have announced them to the ring, and they're gonna. I think they're gonna do well. As for you, though, my friend, was refereeing always the thing in your mind, or did you want to be a wrestler in the beginning, or how'd that work for you?
So originally I did want to wrestle, but I got a pretty bad shoulder, and I was, the reffing thing just kind of fell into my lap. Started doing that, and now here we are. Started in 2016 with it. Now here we are, 2024, and I'm not looking back. I actually enjoy reffing. It's not something I thought I would enjoy so much. Because how it is. People are like, "Oh, you're just a ref. You don't matter."
Yeah.
You matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's people that don't understand the business. You tell me a referee doesn't matter, I'll tell you, great. We don't have any more of a conversation to have because you don't understand how this works at all.
Right.
That any idiot can come in there and be a referee. There is a world of difference between a good referee and a terrible referee.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, and I've seen you ref many times, and I tell you, what strikes me with you is you're very animated. There are a few referees that Keith and I have come across that are just kind of there. Maybe they'll make the counts in the corner, or maybe they'll make the counts when they're outside the ring. But other than that, they don't get too animated. Guys like you and Carlucci, you get animated, and if the wrestler gets in your face, you get in his face and tell him, "I got the stripes on, pal." Stuff like that. I'll disqualify your ass. Like, you get really into it, and that's passion that you can't teach.
Yeah, man. And I've gotten told many times from fans, they're like, "Wow, you're my favorite ref," and it's crazy to hear that. Yeah, but not only that, like, I all the time, like, they're like, "Man, you say some things in there that are crazy." Like, rap or freestyle, man. I just say what comes to the mind. If it gets over, it gets over. If not, hey, But at the end of the day, it's not just about me. It's about selling the action in that ring, And if I'm not enjoying it, if I'm not selling it, then the fans aren't going to believe it. I always say, look at a MMA fighting ref, right? You look at an MMA ref or even a boxing ref. They're not sitting there just standing there like staring. They're moving with the movement.
They're getting physically involved.
And you have to, because even though it's a work, I mean, let's face it, there are certainly times where one of my first friend in the business that was in the business was a referee. You might know him. He's a Wild Samoans graduate as well, Jason Lesher. And he used to tell me when we worked together about, like, it's a work and all that. But what I think people don't understand is sometimes there are instances where the talent is getting in your face and they are treating you like you're an actual official, and you do have to assert yourself, because if you don't assert yourself, they're going to do whatever the hell they want. They're going to make you look like shit. They're going to make the match look like shit. And you really have to get in there and be like, "No, look, motherfucker, this is what we're doing." And you have to enforce those rules. If they do something stupid where they should be disqualified, even if it's not the finish, screw it, you're disqualified. You fucked up. I didn't fuck up.
Exactly. And that's the thing, man. And not only that, I said this in another interview. As a referee, we're kind of like the head coach in there, or the quarterback, because, like, not trying to pull the curtain back too much, but there's going to be times where we have to communicate things to the person.
Right.
Injuries happen. It's hard to not just walk in there, count the three. Now you got to be involved. You can't just sit there in the corner and just count the threes and count the tens and all that. No, you have to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a question I love to ask referees. Has there ever been a match that was supposed to go one way and it went the other way because you did your job? Like, in other words, you counted three. It wasn't supposed to be three, but it happened. Has that ever happened to you?
No, actually, that's never happened to me, believe it or not.
Wow.
Because I'm one of those refs that, tries to, talk to the guys, understand what's going on.
Right.
been in situations though where the guy winning didn't know he was winning, and they're like, what's going on?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"You won, brother."
You want, yeah.
But no, I've never been in a bad situation where it was like, "Oh, why'd you count the 3?" And like, I've never been in situations where it's put me in bad situations. You know, I'm pretty blessed to work with the talents I work with. You know, I work with great companies, so have never been in a bad situation.
Wow, I'm a little surprised as long as you've been doing it, because I mean, let's face it, when we're at the level we're at with the independents and all that, you've got the guys that really know what they're doing. You've got the guys that maybe don't know what they're doing so much. They're green or whatever. And, you know, thankfully you haven't been in that situation because, I mean, you know, I always say, you look at the size of some people, it's like, man, I don't want to be on the wrong end of
Right.
somebody that's mad, because some people really take this stuff seriously, maybe to a degree they shouldn't. But again, I always look at it as, yeah, the referee has to be final, and if you're doing something stupid that screws up the finish, you don't kick out when you're supposed to, or you know, you swing that chair or that foreign object or whatever, and you don't know that the referee is completely distracted, that's on you. That's not on the ref.
So David's asking a question here. Says, "What was your favorite match that you got to ref, and what company was that?"
Ooh, that's a good question. I have so many, but most recently, I'm gonna say Smash Mountain between Ricky Price and MIT Cage. That was my first cage match ever, and moments created for Ricky Price is my guy. Unfortunately, MIT is my guy. I shouldn't be putting him over, but I will. But no,
No, MIT's good. I've seen him in action. He's good. I've seen them both in action. They've wrestled here in Slanington before, for PPW.
right. Yeah, those are my guys, man. There's a lot to list though, but that's
What was that last part you cut out there?
I said that was my favorite one so far, like most recent that
Most recently, yeah.
starting off in my career. Well, not really starting off, but like earliest memory for a favorite match was Homicide and Fallah Bahh. Again, alluding to what I said earlier about how like I'm off the cuff with everything. I'm sitting in the ring counting Fallah Bahh out, and Homicide goes, "Count in Spanish, ref." I back with him. He's like, "You're one of the first refs that have done that with me," and I appreciate
Nice. Nice.
hearing that from Homicide, man. It was cool for me because Homicide was one of my first guys that I like grew up to with independent wrestling. Like this guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homicide and Sammy Callahan are why I got into wrestling. So,
Did you ever pick the brains of veteran refs like over the years?
of course, man. Matt Durline, Matty D, he's been around for a while.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
That's one of my guys that I can go to ask advice. Lance Frazier, Lance Marshall.
Lance Frazier. Wait a minute. Whoa. Time out.
Get off this vendetta.
Did you just say Lance Frazier? Lance Marshall?
Vendetta.
That guy can't count the 3. What did you learn from him? How to count the 2?
You can't ring announce a title match properly. There you go.
Hey, whoa, heat! I feel the heat, brother.
Lance Marshalls. No, I'm kidding. Lance knows I love him. Happy belated birthday, Lance.
He was one of the first ones that started helping me out. There's a long list of guys, but yeah, every chance I have, I'll ask a ref or even the workers into the and I ask them like, hey, what can I work on? What can I do better? It's just like a wrestler. We're out here to grow. We're out here to learn.
Do you have a favorite all-time WWE or WCW referee?
Ooh, I'm just gonna say it. Earl Hebner, or not Earl? Earl, yeah.
Earl Hebner. So he was on. Do you know he was on the TNA pay-per-view on Saturday night?
I saw that. I saw he did come out, and I was because I don't know if you guys remember, but he was at Outbreak, the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
He was at Outbreak. Yes.
And then picking his brain, man, it was cool being around him. He was really down to earth, really willing to give advice. And at the end of the night, he was one of my favorite refs that I saw tonight. And I was like, wow, this is why I didn't believe in myself as a referee. So,
Have you ever had an altercation with a wrestler?
oh man, in the ring, yeah, last weekend at Smash Mountain, or not Smash Mountain, but Smash Master Wrestling, got knocked out twice by Mike Skyros. Took a punch to the face and then took a belt to the head. So yeah,
Ouch.
it does happen. I've gotten knocked out. I've gotten my fair share of licks in there. I
Ain't ballet.
It's not ballet, yeah.
Not ballet.
I don't know if you guys were out. I know you guys might have been there the weekend that we did Outbreak. It was the doubleheader weekend.
That was my first time ever ring announcing, and the professor came to support me. He was ringside supporting me there.
That was the quarantine taping that Friday night.
Yep.
And I knocked out that night too. And then he had to bring his ref out.
Yeah, I'll never forget Vox. He said, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Yeah, very." He goes, "That's good." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because, that means you care."
Hey man, I get nervous, as a referee, I get nervous. I want to go out there and kill it, anything,
Right.
So I get nervous. We all get nervous because we care. Like, if you don't get nervous, you don't care. And if you don't care.
Yeah.
Yep. Has any Fed ever, and you don't have to be specific here, but has any Fed ever involved you in a storyline? Sometimes referees have get involved in certain storylines. Maybe it's a crooked ref storyline, or maybe it's the suspect of a crooked ref, but you're really not. You're totally innocent in the matter. So, or maybe some heat with recently 3WA did a thing where Damon Dante had some heat with referee Rob Miller. So, have you ever been involved in a storyline like that before?
No, I haven't, and I think personally I would probably say no to it because I'm one of those refs that, I'm supposed to be invisible. I don't want to think about me. I'd rather be, I don't think I would want to be in a storyline. I'm not saying I would not saying I would shoot it down. It would have to be a reason why behind it.
Right, because the problem with getting a non-physical person involved in something is you have to have a match almost always to blow it off. Which we saw that with Damon Dante and Robbie Miller, because Robbie Miller is trying to become a wrestler, not just a referee, and has had, someone that looked an awful lot like him.
Yes.
No, it wasn't him.
Robbie Salami.
That looked an awful lot like him, named Robbie Salami. Had a match, the cousin of Donnie Bambino.
And Robbie Salami was impressive, Professor.
Yeah, he was all right out there.
He was good.
I destroyed Autumn Breeze on commentary. He's like, God damn it, I can't fucking talk when you're doing all these jokes about Robbie Salami. I'm like, it's fine. No one will notice.
I love Robbie Salami. But anyway, the thing with Robbie is, sure, he wants to be a wrestler, but the thing is that as he's pursuing that, he's getting better at referee.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's getting more over as a referee, because he's, at first, when we first saw Robbie getting in there, the fans are shooting him down, because he's not as animated as Dylan is here, or Zach Carlucci. He doesn't get too physically involved. And now lately he's been starting to do that. And so he's getting more over as a ref than he realizes, I think.
Yeah, but it's also working towards that goal again, like I said. Yeah, because Dylan, I think you're 100% right on. If you're going to get in a storyline, you really have to be careful about your storylines. Like, I've done a couple of things physically as a commentator, and I know that I probably have to be careful if more and more people start coming to me, because I know people are really enjoying coming up to me in both promotions now, and a lot of the heels especially are like, oh, I want to get some heat on you. Let me do this, let me do that. And it's like, we have to be really careful about what those spots are, because if we go too far, it's going to have to end in a match, and I'm not trained whatsoever to do any of that crap. So I probably would be stupid enough to go in there and just be like, okay, well, we can figure something out, but it's probably going to look like shit. If I really let them go that far, either I get hurt, which whatever, but more than anything, it's probably going to look terrible, and it's going to look like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I can see your point too. If you're not trying to move to that next level or go to that, okay, let's have a match, let's do whatever, you really have to be careful about what spots you do and being able to then pull back and say, okay, that's the right amount of heat or that's the right amount of closure, so the fans aren't going to turn around and go, this has to end in the ring. You have to get in the ring and you have to settle this thing definitively in a wrestling match.
Right.
Does Dylan have any plans to be anything outside of a ref, like a manager to a wrestler or anything like that? Michael asks.
Well, right now, I guess you could say that I'm throwing my hat into the promoter side of things. I'm gonna be
Did you say the promoter side of things?
That's what I heard.
am. So I don't know if you saw on my social medias, I'm starting up a company called Phantom 6 Wrestling.
Really?
My first show is going to be September 8th, and it's going to be a suicide prevention benefit show.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, so man, that's one thing that I want to give another option for people to go to and work. Now, I'm not going to run full time. You know, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. If I run a show, it has to be for charity or it has to be for benefit. I'm not
Right.
just to run a show. There has to be meaning behind it. So right now,
Say that last part again.
just becoming a promoter, that's the next step.
There
Now,
it is.
You know what I think I notice? It seems like whenever a car goes by or something's happening in the background with you, that seems to be when Dylan cuts out. So if you could mute whenever Dylan is talking, let's see if that helps. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's give it a shot just in case. And then
Well, on
unmute.
his, it's something. It's his internet, Keith. It's something on his end because he cuts in and out, and you never do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your internet is better than his internet. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I'm right over the modem, so I cheat.
Right. I mean, I'm not. I'm
a baby face who cheats.
I'm literally outside, and my modem is upstairs above my head, so I'm nowhere near it, and I haven't been choppy, have I? And it seems like Dylan, it seems like you start talking, and then after like a couple of sentences, it just cuts,
Right.
and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But here, I'll mute. Here, you talk, and I'll mute, and you know, because Keith just doesn't want to hear my voice anymore. That's what it is. So here, I'll mute, and you talk.
Such a victim.
Aye. Now you got him looking out at the houses and stuff, man. What are you doing here?
Does the conversation not move forward without me, or what's going on, Keith? I thought you'd ask him a question.
I was just about to, and of course you come in and you step all over me. So, man, I love that, you know, like you said, you're not going to come in and promote full time. You want it to be charity. You want it to be meaningful. You want there to be, you know, something important behind that. I love that. We need more of that, I think, in the business where people are just like, and I think we're seeing that in our little corner of the community in Pennsylvania and whatnot. You know, I see so many promotions now, even established promotions. They're like, hey, we're going to run every month, but we're going to hook up with a boys and girls club, or we're going to hook up with a charity, or we're going to hook up with this, that, or the other thing, and really try to present something that matters beyond just, hey, let's have a wrestling show and make some money.
Exactly, man. And for me, I said this before, suicide prevention show, I don't think has ever been done before. I
can't think of one
that I know of. You know, and I take suicide prevention really serious. Anybody that knows me, I'm willing to talk about it. I lost my mom at a very young age to it. So I take this stuff very seriously. I lost a lot of close friends to it. So I want to try and make something, impact something. And it's not going to just be wrestling on September 8th either. Anybody that knows me knows I'm tapped in with the hip hop culture out in the Lehigh Valley. So I'm going to have music. I'm going to have wrestling. I'm going to make it an all day fun event. Tickets will be $10 for that show. But if somebody comes in and they're like, hey, like I'm going through a rough time, I am suicidal or I'm having mental health issues, I will let them come in and just have a good time. I'm not going to charge anybody, just to charge them. I am trying to make money for the charity and the benefit show, but I'm not going to charge just everybody. Like I said, if somebody is having issues, let me know, or let whoever's working the door, let them know, and we'll take care of you.
I'm never going to hear the end of this, but the professor was probably right about that when a car would go by thing.
It's like I know things.
Nobody ever said you don't know things, Keith. I've never said that. I sing your praises. When have you sung mine? I don't remember when.
I put you over occasionally, somewhere, some point.
So, Dylan, last night at SWO, for the first time, I believe, I ring announced and did color commentary with Keith at the same time. And I'll tell you, it was a mistake. I'm never doing that again.
I warned
because probably about by halftime, my voice was starting to go. And then luckily, one of the wrestlers decided to come out and do color commentary, which is cool because I'm like, I love you right now. You're saving my life. And speaking of New Era, though, I heard about the show. I talked to some fans that were there last night, and they had a good time. So everybody had a good time up at New Era while we were down in Seven Valleys for SWO. Shout out to our boys, Keith, Lou Nick, and Abdul Sadiq for being the first ever New Era Tag Team Champions. Congrats, boys.
We watched potential, guys.
Yeah,
we knew it from the start. You guys are killing it. Keep it up. 3WA this weekend, a shot at the tag team championships there.
They could win 2 belts in 1 week.
And frankly, I think they're the odds-on favorites right now. They beat the Bad Fellas to win the New Era Pro Wrestling Tag Team titles. And who would they have to beat in 3WA to be the new 3WA Tag Team Champions, Al?
The Bad Fellas.
Yeah, your boys.
The Bad Family.
Yeah, you boys, the Bad Family.
Shout out to the Bad. Shout out to the Patriarch.
That hurt you, right? The envelope's going to be a little light this week.
Did you hear JTK singing karaoke? That was great. Loved it. Anyway,
went back to normal.
Anyway, shout out to the Bad Family and good luck tomorrow. Good luck Saturday, boys. We'll see you down there in Quakertown. Dylan, so you mentioned earlier about expanding outside of Jersey and PA. You have any ideas where you want to, look into?
So I would like to try Florida at some point. With Samu starting up WXW out there again, that's definitely possible to do. And maybe some West Coast dates, that'd be cool. Try and make a weekend trip out of that. I would love to go to the West Coast and do my thing out there. It's just a matter of time and place, being a referee, there's always a spot. So it's just a matter of finding the right place and the right time. Do I have plans to ref on TV? And so, if so, what are the next steps? If I get a TV deal, that'll be great. TNA has my eye right now. I have a couple of people over there that I would love to work with. And the next steps is just hitting the gym hard and getting my name out there. That's all it takes.
Getting out there, like you say, West Coast, out of the tri-state area. The tri-state is so good. I mean, there's so much going on, but you got to get out to different places, right? Southern style is a thing. West Coast style is a thing. That ability to show them, hey, I can show you I can do this. I can do this. I can do this over here. I've been all over the place. I know all the different styles. Whatever you need, I can do it. I have experience doing it because There's a lot of promotions out there with television, and I think with streaming and everything, I think we're going to explode
Right.
independently in the next few years. I think streaming is the new frontier. It's going to be what cable was in the 80s. I think we're a few years off from seeing the true potential of that, but I'm certainly reading that some of the more minor streamers are starting to look at professional wrestling content, and that's going to be the way to go, because even with those exploded opportunities, there's still only so many spots that any of us are going to be able to have. And the more we can show, and that we can show that we know, and places we've been and styles we've been involved with, those are going to be the guys that are going to get hired. Those are going to be the girls that get hired. Those are going to be the people that get those spots and are able to exploit that successfully.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And that's one thing with me. I talked about where my start in the beginning with the Wild Samoans and WXWC4. They had TV every week. We were on Service Electric TV, and we had camera crew, there. I learned how to work TV really fast. How to avoid hard cam, how to avoid cameras, and that's one thing that I've been told a lot. You are always avoiding cameras. If there's 5 cameras out there, you try to avoid all of them. You try to be invisible, and not everybody can do that. It's not easy to do. It's just something I kind of learned on my own. But with the beginning of Samu and WXW.
So if you ever want to, I know you said Florida and the West Coast, but Keith and I have made friends up in New York. You can explore. You can go up into the Albany area. We know some guys up there that'll book you as a referee. We know some guys down south in Mississippi and Alabama that'll book you as a referee. So that's a great place to learn that, as Keith put it, the Southern style.
Yeah,
because
I think we even have a connection in Texas or two.
Yeah, and I mean that those are options too if you're interested in that. I can give you the names of these guys because we've had them on the show. Actually, some of them we've had multiple times and become friends with them. And if you want to spread your wings outside of the tri-state area, man, if you can't, eventually you're going to end up down in Florida. But while you're heading down to Florida, stop in Mississippi, stop in Alabama, and do a show for one or both of these guys.
Exactly, man. Like I said, I'm just trying to get around as much as possible.
I'll give you these names. First and foremost, Greg, the Thundercat Winners, who's always on here, usually commentating or whatever. Lately, he has been pretty busy, but that's because he started his own promotion. And so he's between family and the shoot job and the promotion. He's pretty tied up to sit here and talk wrestling with us on Sunday nights. But I still talk to him from time to time, ask him how he's doing, ask him how his family's doing. So, yeah, that's one right there that I can definitely say will book you as a referee in Alabama. As for the other one, SWA, I don't know how much pull Hillbilly Joe has, but however, he's one of their biggest stars. So, I mean, I'm sure he could talk to the right guy and say, hey, because SWA is actually like on Fight TV and on. They're making a transition to YouTube now, but I mean, they've been on Fight TV. So if you want to check them out, you can actually look on YouTube, look up SWA Wrestling, or you can look on Fight TV. You can look up SWA Wrestling. And as far as Greg is concerned, I'll send you his contact info because he loves to come on here, talk to wrestlers, talk to referees, talk to promoters, and now you're becoming one. So it's like you're the best of both worlds to talk to him about. He's been in the business now for almost 20 years, and he loves giving any advice he possibly can. He's a very giving person. So we had the honor of meeting him in person. He actually came up here and checked out an SWO show with me and Keith. He actually stayed at my house, and we want him up here very soon again. But he's a guy that you should definitely get in touch to on your way to Florida. Stop at Alabama and do a show there, and then keep going down to Florida because Florida's where it's at. That. I mean, that when it comes to NXT and anything like that. If you get a chance to get your foot in the door in any of those local promotions down there in Florida, obviously NXT sends people to those shows and sees what kind of animated, excellent referee you are, because
You
I
got
was not
NWW
I don't
down
need
there.
Dylan. I've known you for about 10 years, and I honestly, and maybe longer, but I honestly, I wasn't blowing any smoke up your butt by saying you're becoming a PA legend. Because when I mention your name to other people or other referees, they know who you are, even if you didn't work at a Fed, and that's half the battle. Getting your name out there is half the battle, and so even if you didn't work at a Fed, they've heard the name Dylan Quinn, and in Pennsylvania wrestling, man. I mean, that's why, like, when Nathaniel Cunningham said, "Yeah, Dylan Quinn wants to be on here," I'm like, that's a guy that we kind of we crossed paths a couple times, and then I didn't really I should have reached out to you a long time ago, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, it happens. Life gets busy for all of us.
Yeah.
Happens,
But I'm glad to have you. And I mean, do you have any like cool, like, we got about like 10 minutes left. You got any like good, some road stories, or maybe some behind the scene stories, some interactions with some people that that you'll never forget?
Stuff where the statute of limitations is expired.
Well, we're not talking about those stories. No. So my favorite one to tell is always going to be, so it was me and Samu and his family on our way to a show in Sunbury, PA.
Mm-hmm.
We're on our way. We're behind this, like, the truck's like door flew open.
Mm-hmm.
This pig steps out, and he like is like testing the waters type of thing. He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to jump out of here."
Right.
And then he steps back a little bit, and then he does it again, and he jumps out the truck, and he just goes flying on the highway. And me looking at each other like, did that just happen? Like,
yeah.
That's like one of those things that is never gonna be taken away from me. Like, like, you're in the back. I have so many stories, but that's one I won't forget. And that was one of my last road trips with Sam before he decided to leave for Florida. So there was a lot of memories on that road trip, man. And anything with Samu, man, that's, like I said, I don't call him dad for no reason. That man has saved my life and has done so much for me. I have so many stories with him that cannot be mentioned on live YouTube.
That's why I said statute of limitations.
But no, man, I've been blessed. I've really had so many great life stories and so many stories with so many guys. It's making memories, making moments. It's they say it's a family, and sometimes it doesn't feel like family, but when you have your people, it means a lot. And you see it. I'm always hyping my people up, and do what I need to hype them up, man. And it's crazy. Like I said, I've lived a blessed life, man. And I'll say it. The fact that I get to say that I'm running my own promotion, it's crazy to me. Again, that just comes from the connections I have.
You have to let me and Keith know where that show's going to be, because if we're available September 8th, I think we might have to go check that out.
We should be.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we are available September 8th.
Yeah, so that's going to be in Bethlehem, PA.
Bethlehem.
Yes.
15 minutes from my house, man. 20 minutes from my house.
It's going to be at a brewery. It's going to be an outdoor show. Hopefully Mother Nature agrees with me.
Right.
But it's going to be outdoors at Country Club Brewing. And if anybody's in the Bethlehem area looking for some good beer and a good place to hang out, Country Club Brewing, check them out. Find them on social media. That's where the show is going to be.
I appreciate that, Michael, and it'd be a privilege to meet you too.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing, second Saturday, so we shouldn't be booked. Unless somebody changes something, we should absolutely not be booked that day.
That's the second Saturday in September, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be a Sunday show.
Actually, it's the Sunday. I'm sorry, Sunday.
I purposely planned a Sunday to make sure that I can get the talents I want to get. And I have some very big names in the works, and a lot of people are going to be shocked to see who's coming.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. I'm happy for you, because I know your passion for the business, and to do it for a good cause like that, obviously what you've been through personally, but also, you've had friends and things like that. And it's something deep in your heart. So to raise awareness, to raise prevention, to raise whatever you're doing, that's very commendable on your behalf. Some guys might say, want to start a promotion because, they just thought, why not me, or why can't I do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't I start a promotion? You're doing it for the right reasons, and therefore it's going to be a very successful show, man, because I believe in karma.
Exactly, man, and that's the thing, man. I want to impact lives with this. It's not about me, and not only impact lives, but I also want to get my boys, and girls that I, mess with. I'm not booking people just to book them. I'm putting together matches that fans are going to be like, oh my God, this is happening. That's happening. I'm trying to, mix every promotion that I work with. I'm trying to mix it all. It's going to be an all day event. So I'm going to have 2 shows in one day. It's going to be a long day, but I want to make sure that people get to enjoy it.
Yeah, so like you called me or text me one time because Frontier needed a ring announcer one day, and I really appreciate you doing that. But I'm going to say this to you, that if you do need a ring announcer in a pinch, if I'm available, if I'm not booked elsewhere, man, I'll definitely be there for you, because I value your friendship. I know, I remember meeting you for the first time, man, and you treated me like family right away. And that comes from the Samoans, I think, because they're a big, they're family, and they treat you like family. So everybody that's trying to get in their foot in the business in one way or another, you treat like family. So with that in mind, man, the last question I have for you is, like, for those who are interested in getting in the business, the younger guys, whether it be refereeing, whether it be wrestling, what is the best advice that you could give them that you've learned all this time?
Best advice is never look back and just keep pushing. There's going to be times where this business is going to get hard. It's going to get rough. It's going to feel like it's taking everything from you and you're not gaining anything from it. There's that thing, the big word that gets thrown around, trust the process. And that's the same thing in wrestling, man. I've known guys that trained for 3 years and never had a match. And then they finally got their match and, they never looked back. You know, there's people that pick this up right away and they're out there doing their thing. Not to mention him and not to put him over too hard, but Mr. Ace Austin, he was one of those guys that picked it up right away, but it took years for him too. And then there's some guys that it takes them a while. It's a slow curve. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's the truest thing with wrestling. Rome was not built in a day. So just put in the work, put in the time. You're gonna miss time with family. You're gonna miss time with friends. It's a hard business. It definitely is. It just takes time, effort, and a lot of mental stress. And if you're coming into the business thinking you're going to make millions of dollars right away, I hate to break it to you, that's not going to happen. There's going to
Oh,
be days where you're going to be on the road, you're not going to have enough money to eat, and things like that. It's a really tough business, but if you have the passion for it, if you have the pride for it, do it. Don't stop. Nobody can tell you not to do it. Your own worst enemy is yourself.
very true. Very true.
Professor, you got any last questions or comments for Mr. Quinn?
Um, man, I think other than thank you for sharing, thank you for being here, thank you for your insights. I don't know who needs to hear this interview, but I truly believe that whoever does need to hear it is going to find it. Either they're going to find it today, they're going to find it tomorrow, maybe they find it, 5 years from now. That's the beauty of YouTube and all of that. That stuff is forever. I'm going to put in some time so I can be off on September 8th there, and I'll echo what Al said. Whatever you need September 8th, whether it's a play-by-play commentator, I certainly have my experience with that, or if you just need help setting up or whatever, whatever I don't know, I'm certainly willing to learn.
You need
And
an evil
let's make it
manager
happen.
for one day, because that's a dream of his. You
Being
need
a
an evil manager. I mean,
I
he's not going to bring a tennis racket or anything to the
Yeah,
ring, but
more and more though, I think doing the commentary and stuff, it's like I don't even know if I should be an evil manager, because then I keep worrying, like, what if it gets back to the promotions I work for, and I'm old school. I'm old school with this stuff, and I know it's probably you're worrying about crap that ain't gonna happen, but everything's filmed now. Everything's filmed. It's on YouTube. It's out there, and you know, I don't want to screw up my gimmick. I'm just starting to get.
I'm trying to help you out.
No, I know.
Right? Dog Nation are evil in some feds, and they're loved in other feds. So
I know
you can pull the same thing off. And they love me in SWO. They hate me in 3WA. I pull it off.
They seem to dislike us both anymore, man. Quakertown is tough. We both get booed anymore. SWO
Nobody hates the professor in 3WA.
I don't know, man. We get booed anymore in the introductions. SWO, they popped for me last night. I'm like, oh, this is new. I like this.
It's me. They're booing, man. I told those people that if idiots could fly, Quakertown would be the airport. I told them that.
There was one night where I, honest to God, moved my chair a little bit because I'm like, they're going to riot and Al is going to die, and I don't want to be involved in this. Because, I mean, he screamed so loud that the building could hear him where he's like, take that, morons! And I'm like, oh, oh my God, we're done here. Like, I'm just, no.
It's all in fun, right, Dylan?
Exactly. But yeah.
All right, is there anything that we did not cover that you would like to talk about before we get out of here, brother?
Oh, well, you know, talking about the suicide prevention stuff earlier, if anybody does watch this, like Professor Keith said, you know, hopefully the right people find this and they see this. If you're going through some rough times, don't be afraid to reach out to me and message me personally. You know, because I will answer you. I will talk to you. You know, you're not in this fight alone. You know, I'm very approachable, as Al said. You know, I treat everybody like they're my family. You know, I don't look down on anybody. I don't, you know, I try to show my respect to everybody. You know, as long as you don't do me dirty, I won't do you dirty. You know, that's as Al said, the Samoans has taught me right. But no, reach out to me. I'm easy to approach. Find me on Facebook at DYLAN QUINN, Instagram DQuinn_97. I think my ex is the same thing, DQuinn_97. I'm very easy to approach. And if you're at a show with me, come up to me, get a picture, get an autograph. I don't care. I should be having some more shirts dropping very soon, so get a t-shirt from me. Get some 8x10s.
Love it. Good stuff, brother. All right. Don't go anywhere when we go off the air, all right?
I won't. I promise.
Professor, next week we have a very unusual guest. And I say unusual because not only is he a professional wrestler, and not only is he a master of the martial arts, legit, but he is also, from what I'm told, one of the most eccentric people that we're ever going to have on Around the Turnbuckle. So I'm very looking forward to meeting. And all I can say about him is you need to tune in. Just tune in next Sunday right here on Around the Turnbuckle. And each and every Sunday Around the Turnbuckle at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. No, Michael, it's not Brock Lesnar. We wish. And I mean, even with as much heat on Brock Lesnar right now, I would love to have Brock Lesnar, but I mean,
I bet you would. You're hoping he'd come through the screen and end me.
You could come. You could, but we have had some names. If you go on our YouTube page and you go on our YouTube channel, rather, and you go scroll down through there, you know, we've had Rudy Boy Gonzalez, and we've had Nikita Breshnikov, and we've had Harlem Heat's own Stevie Ray. So check them out. I mean, we did have some cameos at the Legends of Hamburg by Rhino and Maven and Heath Slater. Check them out too on Around the Turnbuckle. And like us, follow us, share us, all that good stuff. Subscribe to our channel because that keeps us going, having great guys like referee DYLAN Quinn. Dylan, thank you, my brother.
Of course, man. Thank you.
All right, so for Professor Keith and referee DYLAN Quinn extraordinaire, I'm Big Al. We'll see you next time.
You think you know me?
Oh, yeah!
calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour,